All right, hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today what we're going to be doing is we're making a video on the Yieldmax dividends. Taking it back to OG time, we're going to be talking about some Yieldmax dividends that paid some extremely high yields. And of course, I have what Yieldmax released on their Twitter in terms of their dividend yields. So we could see the highest paying dividend yields, and we're going to go over them, their history, and a little bit about how they've been paying. So that all sounds good. We're up to 4,970 subscribers. I'm so sorry, guys. I haven't made a video in like a week almost. I've started a new job and it's been very stressful. I don't really have much time in the day, but when I do, I'm going to make a video. Like today, it's Friday. I could be partying, but I'm making a video for you guys. We actually gained about 353 subscribers in the past 28 days, so please do subscribe if you haven't yet done so. But without further ado, let's get into this. So, taking you guys through, I want to start with the lowest yielding dividend today that we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about TSLY with a 52.25% yield. And the reason why we're talking about it is because I do hold it in my portfolio. My portfolio here has actually been doing we'll say pretty well. Look, over this time period, I've been investing all my money. Not all my money, but I've been investing my money throughout this entire time period. And so naturally, my portfolio should go up. You could see here that at this point here, I reinvested a bunch of dividends that I previously had sitting in my account. And my account has been a little rocky. It's gone up, it's gone down. But when we're creating about $200 in dividend income every month and we're compounding it, that's when we see our portfolio slowly starting to grow. But with, of course, these Yieldmax funds, you can do that with 50%, and even a Yieldmax fund MSTY, which went up to almost about 115%. And of course, you got to think about the underlying stock and the return of capital. But when you're compounding at 115%, there is a decent amount of return of capital. But if you continue to reinvest, you're only going to get more shares and more dividends over time, and the compounding effect really does take into effect. And I am starting to see that slowly, which is pretty exciting. But enough about that. Let's talk about how much TSLY paid. You can tell we haven't made a video in a while. Let's do it. So TSLY paid about 65 cents in dividend. It paid 64 cents 0.48. Okay, so we'll call it 65 cents. It's been relatively consistent for the past 3 months at about this 65 to 70 cent level range. And you can see here that TSLY over the course of its existence has really been trending down in its dividends, and it's also been trending down in its share price. If I pulled it up here, this is the last 6 months. It had a high at about $23. That was before they did the stock split. But Tesla at the same time in the past 6 months has also been trending down from a high point. It looks to have reached some kind of barrier here at about 175, but it's a low point for TSLY, which is great if you're looking to pick up shares. I'm not currently picking up any shares of TSLY. I'm only holding this position, and I wouldn't sell this position at this current share price level. I think Tesla obviously has a lot more room to improve. It shows that in the previous chart history of the stock's history. And so I'm currently holding my TSLY shares. I'd like to potentially, I don't know if I would sell it, but I would like to sell it if I was at a $300 marker, which would be double the current share price. So definitely a lot more room to grow in my opinion. And I'm totally fine holding TSLY because the underlying stock is Tesla, and I do believe in Tesla long term. I love what they're doing, and I do believe the stock is undervalued currently. So that is one thing to point out about TSLY. Now, SQY, it's another stock that I do hold in my dividend portfolio, and it pays a 60.67% dividend, a very fair dividend at that. And you can see here that for the past couple months, it's actually been paying out some decent dividends. We had $1.12 the previous month, and then this month is 96 cents. And you can see the dividends are all over the place for SQY. As this stock, the underlying stock block, has been all over the map, where it has periods where it shot up, it's shot down, and currently we're in a downtrend for SQY, which translates to we're in a downtrend in SQ, the underlying stock, which is block. And then that obviously translates to a downtrend in SQY. And you can see over the past 6 months, the stock has traded from $25 down to about $19. It just paid out that dividend. So at the same time, it did take another hit. It was trading at about $20 or so. But overall, SQY has still been a decently good dividend play for me. I bought it at about $24 or so. You could see right here my average share price, $23.20. And it's definitely paid me a decent amount in dividends, because going back to the history, I've received all these dividends going back to this $1.61 dividend. So 96 cents, I will absolutely take that for SQY. That is a great dividend yield coming in at 60%. Moving to our next one. Now we're getting into the real high dividend paying stocks. We're going to be looking at a couple of different ones here. I excluded Coney for this one. It did pay a 1.69% dividend because I wanted to introduce the new YBIT, which is Yieldmax Bitcoin Options Income Strategy ETF. There we go. We got that tongue twister out. Paying an 86.34% dividend. So you could see here, very little dividend history. It's only got one dividend, $1.37. And one thing to point out is usually when Yieldmax releases its first dividend, this is about a month and a half worth of premium being gathered up, because it needs to go through a full month. And generally, they're collecting premiums from these synthetic covered calls from a couple weeks prior to a full month. So this might be a little bit of a bigger dividend to be expected from YBIT. YBIT. I like saying YBIT. But that is the first nonetheless. Going to our next dividend, which has been a solid dividend payer for a very long time, is NVDY with 107%. Going to their dividend history, you could see they've been paying some fantastic dividends over the past little while. I don't currently have their stock price up, anything like that, but we could see from the dividend history, it's only really gone up with time, and currently they're paying absolutely huge dividends. I understand Nvidia is a stock that it's a little bit more on the volatile side. It's had a huge swing to the upside in the past year, which obviously contributes to the huge swing in the dividend, because the dividend really depends on how the underlying stock performs. Now, the last and final Yieldmax stock we're going to talk about is MSTY, Yieldmax MSTR Option Income Strategy ETF, paying a 115% dividend. And when we look at this dividend, this is by far probably one of the biggest dividend payers in the Yieldmax category in terms of percentage and then actual like dollar amount. We've seen $4 dividends, $2.50 dividends, and now a $3.03 dividend coming from MSTY. Now that is a huge dividend. I don't have the current share price, but MSTY is very volatile as well, because MSTR, the underlying stock, has ran up huge. It's a semiconductor stock, a semiconductor business, about a $25 billion market cap, but obviously that's subject to change because their stock price is all over the place, and they paid a huge $3 dividend. That was the biggest dividend released in the month of May for Yieldmax. So these were just some Yieldmax dividends. Maybe you hold them in your portfolio. Maybe you're looking to get into some. Definitely these stocks or ETFs are a little bit more on the riskier side, but they do provide some amazing dividend income. And potentially, if you buy them at a great price, they could offer a little bit of a capital gains return. But of course, when you're paying out $3 in dividends, that's obviously coming out of the share price. So you have to think about that too. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, we're up to 4,970 subscribers. I wanted to bring this video to you guys, a special video to bring it back, because I haven't made a video in about 5 days or so. I apologize for that, but we're going to rep out some videos, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Stick around for more, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.